Welcome, welcome, welcome. Google Slides. Casey Bell tells us that this is the Swiss Army knife of G Suite, and I couldn't agree with her more. What can Google Slides not do? So today in Google Slides, I'm hoping that you'll see something that may be a little different that you've not used before, or that it sparks an idea that you might want to already add to a presentation that you've got going, or just a new, fresh way to present it to the students. So you can see in my lineup here that we're going to look at, we're going to review tools just a little bit. I'm not going to go very deep into the different tools because most of you are familiar with this, but I want to show you a couple of things that you'll hear me say today. So up here at the top, you'll see that you have tools listed, and you also have quick click icons that you can use. Your background layout or theme, all of these are here available for you. Back, your undo, adding slides. But under File, I want to show you that you'll hear us talk about Publish to the Web. That lives under File. And you'll hear us talk about sometimes your page setup. This is where, if you know you have a particular slide that you'd like to print for students, or if there's a slide they need to print for some reason, you can go in here and change the page setup to 8.5 by 11 and set the slide to look like a piece of paper. And sometimes that's beneficial when you know you need that format. All right, your typical edits. View, you'll hear me talk about this today when we look at animation, that I'll use a master view. Insert, this seems to be probably our tool that we use the most. This is where all of our inserts are that we will add to slides or can add to slides. And then obviously your slide one, you can duplicate, add a slide, delete, change your backgrounds here. Your tools. Zip on over to add add-ons. If you've not looked through this, kind of pull down to get add-ons. If you follow Matt Miller at all, if you follow him on Twitter, he is typically introducing top 10 tools to use with slides. And there are great ones in here. Some of these we have to submit to technology to get permission to add on. I do know that Mr. Fuqua has Pear Deck open for you. If you've not used Pear Deck or listened to the on-demand video, this is a great tool for making your slides interactive. Students can answer by multiple choice. They can draw. They can even type in text. They can drag icons. Just all types of different tools to use that are available to us to make them interactive. And you'll see that this one will live up here in your bar as well. Add-ons, other ones he has open is the Creator Studio. It lives here in your drop-down box. So a couple of quick tips there. So my next setup here is the page setup. We just quickly talked about that one. You just go to page setup and you can change it to be a copy paper size. The next thing that I want to show you, we're going to look at a way to create in slides a table of contents and an idea for quizzes. And let me just click here. So what this will do for you is that you can set up a slide that will then operate essentially, I think of it as a clickable app. You can set icons, you can set words, pictures, that they can become clickable and they'll go to a particular slide. So this one that I set it up, I just called it a table of contents. So let's say you have a big presentation and you know that the unit is long and you've got lots of information that you want to bring in. I'm just using the verbiage lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. So what you would do is just obviously type out your heading, the wording that you need. And then when you click on it, you can designate which slide it will go to. So I've got this one going to slide 2, lesson 1. And so I don't have anything on it, but this is my lesson 1. Now, when students go to that particular slide, I recommend that you create yourself a home button, and it's just like creating the highlighted words. I found an icon of a home, a little button, and when kids click on it, it will tell them which slide it's going. It's going to go back to slide 1. They'll just pull down, and it takes me right back to the home page. So no matter how long your presentation gets, this home button will bring them right back to the beginning. And so here are the steps that I have. You just create your home page, highlight the wording that you want, and right click. So here is a page that I don't have set up, and you can see that everybody's got their own little page. So if I click on Willie, he's on slide 2. Go back. Click back. Amanda, let's see where she's at. She's slide 3. No, she's not. She's slide 2. And then let's see where I have James. He's slide 3 with no home button. Go back. All right, so this is what I want to show you to do. All that you do for, let's say I'm signing up Danielle. Here's her page. You just highlight it, Control K, and it will bring up your box. And it'll ask you which slide in this presentation do you want it. So you'll click on this, and then all of your slides will be listed. So let's say I'm going to send her to slide 6. And then you simply apply it. And she'll become highlighted, underlined, and then it's a click, slide 6, and then there she is. So it's connected. And then you can send the kids back home. So here are a couple of ideas that I ran across as I was just looking at what you possibly could do for table of content pages. You can create a classroom newsletter. This is not too cute, I know. This was just quick, just showing you that you can bring in pictures and they will take you to locations. You can, the same thing again, Control K, select, and then where would you like to link it? So this one is connected to our calendar, our district calendar. Takes me right to a one-click calendar. So that's ready to go. And then when kids are finished, because this is for Spotlight, you certainly can spend some time and make this look cute. I just dropped in some pictures just to show you that you can link pictures, not necessarily just verbiage. So I'm through with this page, hit my home button, and I'm back to table of contents. So a newsletter is one, class news, whatever, spotlights, whatever you want to call it, you can create it for your students. This one was a great idea. A page with things that start with A. So for our younger students, you could have obviously your letter and then items that start with A. So you can make books. And then this one for math, symbols, or pictures of things that represent fractions. And again, just think of them as pages in books or pages of worksheets that you kind of bring in. You can snip those and bring in pictures, even problems, and create that and in your slides. Make those interactive, make those fun. And so then they'll take you right back to table of contents. I just called it table of contents just because it was just for this lesson, just to show you that you can essentially within your slides, make your slides an app. The icons become clickable, the words become clickable. It's a simple highlight, right click, Control K, and select the slides in the presentation that you would like for it to link to. Now for quizzes, think about this in quizzes. What you could do is that your answer choices that you have, if you have the correct answer, link the correct answer, highlighted, answer A, to the next problem in your quiz. If they select answer B and it's the incorrect one, then link that answer to an explanation slide in which they could rewatch a video or watch or just have an explanation for these are typical ways in which that you might miss this, don't forget this particular step, and have them go back through that. So the answer choice would then be highlighted to a slide. If they got it correct, then takes them to the next problem. If they got it incorrect, then it would take them to an explanation page. And don't forget to put your home button on those pages so that they come back to see where they're at in their problems that they're working through. So this is a great one-stop shop, I call it. is this one home page can link a variety of things that you need. And again, it's a quick click. Don't forget a home button for them to be able to come back as they work through all the slides in your presentation. So I love this tool. I think that's a wonderful tool. All right. So the next thing that I have is that the idea of inserting thought bubbles to add DOK to your presentation. So here I have just different pictures that have been brought in. And depending on what you want, you could have them to annotate their pictures. Use the speech bubbles to think about the characters from a book, if you have a particular book. So you could ask them to write in, type in, what do you think they're saying to each other? And you can have a criteria, obviously, that's using things that you're teaching in your classroom. And what's going on here? Lab safety. I know that we have this a lot in the beginning of science, beginning of the year. So what safety procedure could they be using? And you know, I kind of giggle at myself when I say, what are they thinking? Because no telling what we would all get. This one, we have the bossy R, so you could use this for our younger students. I need to make my pictures a little bigger so you can see them. But what is he saying to the letter A? What is bossy R saying to the letter A? Or give some examples as for words that are using the bossy R. And then this particular one, this is probably going to mess up my arrows. No. This one is using your camera on the device. So the kids can turn the camera on and take a picture of their work and then just insert a shape. Just go over to your shapes and insert an arrow to say, in this particular position of the problem, this is what you do, or this is what I did, and this is what I did to get here. So don't forget, not only the shapes that you can insert, and of course they can just have a field day with however they want to add them, but using your call outs, they can do any of the different shapes that they have here. But work through characters in a book, work through sequences for social studies, even for science, anything that has step 1, step 2, step 3, a sequence, discussion of procedures. What does this mean? This idea of using the call outs can run the gamut of any content. So that is inserting your images. All right. I don't want a deleted slide. I don't know why that did that. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is animation. This one is a fun one to follow and do. Kids love animations in our slides. So this is just a silly one that I put in, but let me show you what you can do. By inserting a background, pulling in the images, you can then make them animate. So again, the ideas, just run the gamut of your content of what you have for sequencing. So when you create an animation, let me just run you through some steps. You will obviously start new in your Google Slides. Find a background that you'd like to use. Now in this one, remember, I just found this particular one and set it as a background. But this is where I was going to show you too. I'll show you on animation when I get over there. All right, so in setting a background, decide on what you want. Choose a color or an image. You can upload from your computer, or you can search the web or in your drive, wherever your location of your image is. All right, then set up your first slide. And so this particular one is an activity in which we use the movement, so of time, of the sun, and shadows. So kids not only will be able to move the sun, but also create the shadow as it's moving across. Where is the shadow of the tree going to be located as the sun is moving across the sky? So you'll set up your first slide. Then this is your little trick. You're going to duplicate that first slide several times. And as you move through, you see that the background is staying the same. And then you have your sun, the image of your sun, and you will move it a little each duplicated slide. So each time as you're duplicating your slide, you'll move your image one more time. And for this particular activity using the shadow, you'll move the shadow too. So here, watch the sun here. So see how teeny tiny movements all across, all across, all across. You duplicate slide, move your image. Here we go to File and publish this to the web. You can change your time. When you publish to the web, you'll have these options. There's your link. If you want to speed it up or slow it down, this is an option for you here up here in your bar at the very end. You can change your time. All right, make sure changes can be made. Be sure to update your link as you make those changes. So as you create your image, you look for your background, insert, and then you just change your time as to how you want it to present and move it along to animate. Pretty simple. I think it's a great idea for lots of activities in science. Our younger kids could even demonstrate the growth of a plant, a flower blooming, from the seed, and then the presentation of the flower. Anything that has, again, sequence animating with Google Slides. All right, the next one is creating an interactive slides, and most of you probably have seen this this is Casey Bell's favorite, creating magnetic portrait. You, again, will have a background, and using what I call the gray space over here, you can make that space interactive and just drag in. And so you can have kids create, and that's not going to make sense there. I swam in the swimming pool, but you get the picture. So magnetic portrait. And so along with that idea, many things you can use to create this with. Use magnetic portrait idea. This is one using for second grade, and you can see that all of these you can drag these over and have the kids come in and label the different continents. So it's a good little practice for them. Digital notebooks is another one that we talk about in here, where you can set up pages and make them interactive. You can set your background. Okay, to show you text evidence and how to annotate, let's go to a passage that I have brought in. And so you find a passage that you're interested in using, and it can be from the web, or it can even be a worksheet that you have, and you can either snip it or scan it or screenshot it, however you get it into your device. And so what you'll do here is you can insert it as, view, set it as a master. And when you set it as a master, kids are unable to change this slide. Another one that we've talked about, and a way to make it to where kids can't move it, is to set it as the background. So just as you would bring an image in the background, you'd bring this image in from your pictures or your drive and set it as a background to keep it to where kids are not able to move it around. So the next thing is, with the idea of using the gray space as their interactive space, is that you can type out the instructions that you want the kids to be finding text evidence for. So you designate your colors and then write your question. Of course, this is not a question. I just was showing you that. Highlight evidence that shows what. And you can go ahead and put color bars over here on the side, and kids would simply click and drag and drop, and it would be there. So there's several things you can do here. You can do that and have all your colors set over here if that's easier for your students depending on their age. Or you can have the kids to insert a shape, highlight over, and then come up here and set this as transparent. Now I'm not finished here because you'll see when I click off, it just is this is the box. All right. So you have to kind of teach them how to do this. And then as they're come back over here to your color, come down to custom and pick your highlighting color. And then teach them to use this bar, this transparency bar, bring it down to where it's just a light shade of that color and click OK. And you will see then that it has a highlight. The other thing that I think is pretty easy if you're not really wanting to change the colors, but kids could easily do this too. If you can teach them to go and insert colors, they could easily do this. But what I was talking about is that you can then Control D and just duplicate. And then they can drag that already one created bar around. And then you probably already are thinking, well, they could just come up here and pick another color, and they could, just any color. They come up and create their colors for their different ones. But if you want to go ahead and set it up and say that that you want certain colors for what they're finding, then you could go ahead and put their bars here in the gray space and they can move those over. So pretty simple and a great way in which kids can highlight over their text. So you'll locate text, go to view and pull down to master view and select so that it sets it, or you can bring it in as your background and it'll set it too. Select a shape and set it at transparency. And then the biggest thing you have to remember is that when they're doing the fill, they have to go to customize it and use that transparency bar there to set it to be able to highlight. But I think that's a great tool. All right, the next thing is that if you're looking for ways to bring in fractions, the idea of inserting a table. So you just come up and come to your tables, find just the two shapes. This is not going to play right, is it? And then size it to what you need, and you'll be able to type in your numbers. All right, the last thing I want to show you today is how to use the back channel. And this is a great opportunity for students to ask questions, especially if they don't typically ask questions, because they can check a box that leaves them anonymous and their name will not display. So when you are presenting, up here in your present button, once it populates, come down to the Q&A. It says open audience tools. Your slides will be on the left-hand side. You'll be able to see them, and you can pull down to the different slides that you have. So you can go to whichever one you want. Start new. When you click that, it will then generate an address for the kids to put in their browser to be able to go to, and they can ask a question. So here, I'll just click it to open it so that you can see what that looks like on their end. So kids would be able to type their question here. I want to know about whatever. So again, if they want to click and their name not be displayed, it can be clicked there. And then I'd submit it. That's what my question was. Let me go back and show you what it looks like on their end. And you would see it on your presentation side, the question here as you're presenting. Now, if you want to present their question to show it to the class, you can click here. And it will come up for you. Let me go back to my slide here. And it says, so you can show that to the class if that's an interest that you have. Oh gosh, I always do this. And that's what it would look like. Okay, so if you have any questions, please reach out to your curriculum team. I hope that you have learned something new today that you can place into your classroom or possibly just gave you a spark or a new idea. If you have any questions or concerns, always reach out to us in the curriculum team. Have a great day.